Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Rogers Kakasungura YouTube channel. A big thank you for your continued support. While doing my research on Twitter, I came across Kibwana's sentiments that he spoke on the X space. And after listening to it, I found it very crucial to the Gen Zs out there. Kibwana was explaining why the government raided Zimmerman and Githurai. And I found his argument valid and true to what is happening in the Republic of Kenya. I saw it wise to share this information with you. Can we listen to Kibwana? It's an audio spoken on the X space.
Part of why the police are coming into Zimmerman, Githurai, and so on, according to them, they believe that's where most of the people come to demonstrate come from. So they come there to intimidate so that people will start saying we can't go back, we can't go to the demonstrations again. So this is strategy from the government side that you need to understand. That's what I myself think is the reason for the police into the night coming into people's homes and so on and so forth. I have considerable confidence in Martha Karua. Historically, at least she was of a progressive bent. But it's up to you to look at, if ever you want to do some work with some of the politicians, it's up to you to examine them so that we don't get the same thing like after the Arab Spring, when the people who replaced the departed government were still people of the old order. So that in North Africa, even after the Arab Spring, you didn't get fundamental change, which really, and I think the change you're asking for, apart from the details, it's just implement the constitution. Just make sure everybody counts. Make sure that there is, opportunity for the young people, like what Mkenya said about Kila Nyumba Kalila. That meant to every person the opportunity. And I think he when he said that we brought some milk from Mount Kenya, even if that was so, which it wasn't. I mean, you guys have to talk about the whole Kenya. You can't talk about any part not being together and so on and so forth. But I think you're asking for just decency, no corruption, implementation and these are very, 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 very good things to ask for, because that is what we don't want our country to be a failed state like the other countries. So when you are dealing with the politicians, you will always know, the old politicians, you will always know that they can trick you. Some of them can come to you thinking that they are doing, they are well and they mean well and so on. So it's up to you to choose very well. But I would myself recommend that you consider, first of all, there are details of part of why the police are coming into Zimmerman, Githurai, and so on. According to them, they believe that's where most of the people come to demonstrate come from. So they come there to intimidate so that people will start saying we can't go back, we can't go to the demonstrations again. So this is strategy from the government side that you need to understand. That's what I myself think is the reason for the police into the night coming into people's homes and so on and so forth. I think that even if you decide that you are going to have a political party or political parties, keep the movement intact so that there is a movement. And if you want a political expression, the political expression is different, so that the movement becomes the major thing. Like now, what you're saying is faceless, is classless, is tribeless, is all those things, because that's really the engine which will create the change that is required. And a party is something that will work later. if you wish to a party or parties, whatever you want to do, if you want to go that. So that would be one of the most important things. The movement must never be allowed to die, and it is the primary thing. And if you have a political expression, it is a subsidiary thing, because we know parties which are not driven by movements, we know that they turn out to be, people can get bought and all that kind of stuff. But you maintain your movement, even when sometimes you disagree, because people will try to make you disagree. You come back to each other, you share notes and all that kind of stuff. And I like the fact that truly the leaderless bit, which people don't understand, is the fact that just like the Black Lives Matter movement, the Occupy Wall Street movement, there are movements where there is functional leadership. If there's a task to be done, people do that. Like now, what you're doing, some people do this. If people have to go and get taken to hospital, other people do that. If there's a concert, they will do that. That's the new way, like, some of the books are saying, in terms of how organization these days is happening. It's not the old thing where there is one person who is on top and other people defer to them and all that kind of stuff. So it is a new way of organizing, and I think it is potent, and it should continue that way. If you wish, the people like us who were in the second liberation, we said that we can't come into your movement because we don't want to look like we are usurpers or we are coming to take over or stuff like that. But if ever you are ready to get some people to have an advisory role, and you vet them properly, better than now, these cabinet secretaries will be vetted. I'm sure even when you look at some of the conversations, you can see who would not have a problem coming to advise, and you work with them. And but the most important thing is how to make a new leadership out of, because the people who are involved are in their 40s, are in their 20s, 30s, and 40s. And we know from other places, we have seen leadership of 30-something being prime minister, even the MPs who are being elected, but if you let this thing get defeated, then Kenya will be a failed state. I can say that without, any fear of contradiction. Kenya will be a failed state. And finally, if I can speak about the IDs. First of all, when you're 18 and you don't have an ID, it's a crime. So if the system does not want to give IDs, it means that it is actually getting young people to be to commit crimes, because it's a crime not to have an ID when you're 18. And this is one thing that should just be pushed, so that all places where the IDs are given, sometimes in huko villages or wherever, huko kwa chief or sijui kwa nani, mahali watu wana apply, there has to be a movement of going there consistently mpaka watu wanasema kwamba lazima wapate, because the system knows in the last elections 8 million people didn't vote who are already registered, and about 3 to 4 million had not registered, and they were 18 and above. And there was also a group among those ones who didn't have IDs at 18. Now, the Gen Zs who are 15, 16, and 17 as of now, those ones now will be able to vote. The Gen Zs who are 15, 16, and 17 will be able to vote in 2027. So if they don't have IDs, if they don't register as voters, then it means that a significant number of the young people will not come to vote. And this is one thing that the system is going to try as much as possible to get the young people not to vote, to get the diaspora people not to vote, and so on and so forth. So, so as I conclude, yeah.
Oh yeah, concluding. Yeah, no problem. Kindly wind up.
Yes, sure. So as I conclude, I can just say, you guys, you have something big. It's influencing Africa. And please just, this has to be done. And any help you need from wherever you need, I'm sure you'll get it. Not help of these things, propaganda of the Ford Foundation and stuff, but intellectual help, academic help, whatever help that you require. Thank you, Kimuzi, and all of you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is an old man speaking with a lot of experience, Professor Kibwana. So, I have nothing to add. Gen Z's take question and know, begin to understand the politics of this country and know how to carefully tread. God bless you. See you in the next video. Asante sana.